So what oppresses and scares us? It is our own thoughts, obviously. What overwhelms people when they are about to leave friends, family, old haunts, and their accustomed way of life? Thoughts. Remember from now on, whenever something tends to make you unhappy, draw on this principle. This is no misfortune, but bearing with it bravely is a blessing. We are at the mercy of whoever wields authority over the things we either desire or detest. If you would be free, then do not wish to have or avoid things that other people control, because then you must serve as their slave. Keep the prospect of death, exile, and all such apparent tragedies before you every day, especially death, and you will never have an abject thought or desire anything to excess. The gods do not exist, and even if they exist, they do not trouble themselves about people, and we have nothing in common with them. The piety and devotion to the gods that the majority of people invoke is a lie devised by swindlers and con men, and if you can believe it, by legislators to keep criminals in line by putting the fear of God into them. There is no shame in making an honest effort. People with a strong physical constitution can tolerate extremes of hot and cold. People of strong mental health can handle anger, grief, joy, and the other emotions. Don't hope that events will turn out the way you want. Welcome events in whichever way they happen. This is the path to peace. Whenever anyone criticizes or wrongs you, remember that they are only doing or saying what they think is right. They cannot be guided by your views, only their own. So if their views are wrong, they are the ones who suffer insofar as they are misguided. So if you like doing something, do it regularly. If you don't like doing something, make a habit of doing something different. In literature, too, it is not great achievement to memorize what you have read while not formulating an opinion of your own. Adopt new habits yourself. Consolidate your principles by putting them into practice. For where you find unrest, grief, fear, frustrated desire, failed aversion, jealousy, and envy, happiness has no room for admittance. And where values are false, these passions inevitably follow. Free is the person who lives as he wishes and cannot be coerced, impeded, or compelled, whose impulses cannot be thwarted, who always gets what he desires and never has to experience what he would rather avoid. Freedom is not archived by satisfying desire, but by eliminating it. You should be especially careful when associating with one of your former friends or acquaintances, not to sink to their level. Otherwise, you will lose yourself. If you are troubled by the idea that he'll think I'm boring and won't treat me the way he used to, remember that everything comes at a price. It isn't possible to change your behavior and still be the same person you were before. The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. Never praise or blame people on common grounds. Look to their judgments exclusively, because that is the determining factor, which makes everyone's actions either good or bad. Restrict yourself to choice and refusal, and exercise them carefully with discipline and detachment. Don't put your purpose in one place and expect to see progress made somewhere else. You ought to realize you take up very little space in the world as a whole, your body, that is. In reason, however, You yield to no one, not even to the gods, because reason is not measured in size but sense. So why not care for that side of you, where you and the gods are equals? That is the way things are weighed and disagreements settled, when standards are established. Philosophy aims to test and set such standards, and the wise man is advised to make use of their findings right way. Most people are impulsive, however, and having committed to the thing, they persist, just making more confusion for themselves and others until it all ends in mutual recrimination. He wants what he cannot have, and does not want what he can't refuse, and isn't aware of it. He doesn't know the difference between his own possessions and others, because if he did, he would never be thwarted or disappointed, or nervous. We aren't filled with fear except by things that are bad, and not by them either, as long as it is in our power to avoid them. Don't concern yourself with other people's business. It's his problem if he receives you badly, and you cannot suffer for another person's fault, so don't worry about the behavior of other.